Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Delgado's Workforce IT Tech Talk Thursdays. My name is Erin Thomas, and I'm the Student Success Specialist for Workforce IT. Also joining us from Workforce IT is Mr. Kelvin Gibson, our IT Program Director. So if you would like any information on any of the IT courses that Delgado has to offer, please visit our website, which is www.dcc.edu/go/IT, which I will include in the chat. Today, we have a very special presentation, Cyber.org, Cyber Range, preparing the next generation of cyber literate citizens, presented by Mr. Willie Henderson, who I will introduce shortly. But first, a few housekeeping rules. If we could ask everyone to please mute their mics, and please hold all questions to the end, and you can also put questions in the chat. So as I mentioned, we have a very special guest speaker, Mr. Willie Henderson, who is a cyber education specialist with Cyber.org, the academic outreach division of the Cyber Innovation Center in Bossier City, Louisiana. Willie has over 25 years of experience in public education, all at Title I schools. He has served in many roles, including STEM teacher, master teacher, and campus administrator. Willie holds a Bachelor of Science from Millsap College and Master of Education in Educational Administration from Texas A&M Commerce. As a cyber education specialist, he leads one of the Cyber.org's HBCU initiatives, the Project Reach LA pilot program, funded by NSA, and co-leads the Project Reach expansion, funded by CISA. Willie is passionate about engaging underrepresented and underserved youth in cybersecurity and creating access for those youth to cybersecurity degrees and cyber careers. He is married to the former Letitia Player and the proud father of Willie Henderson III, a PT student at the Xavier College of Pharmacy in New Orleans, Louisiana. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Mr. Willie Henderson. Willie, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Erin. I appreciate those kind words, and welcome to all of those in attendance today. Want to just spend a little time on this Thursday Tech Talk, talking about the Cyber.org Cyber Range. I want to, before I really get started, be sure to give a special thanks to Ms. Jackson for affording me this opportunity and allowing me to be a part of the wonderful programs that Delgado is leading in the New Orleans area, and the type of educational opportunities that are being provided to the people of New Orleans. And I'm just so proud to have been asked to be a part of that. So I thank you so much, Ms. Jackson. Not to belabor, we'll get right to it. We're going to be talking today about the Cyber.org Cyber Range. I have been having a few technical difficulties, so I do apologize. But I'm going to share my screen, and I hope that it is the correct view. I've had some issues, so I'm going to just hope that that's correct. As I said, we're going to be talking about the Cyber.org Cyber Range here in today's Tech Talk. And basically, just to go over a little bit about what the schedule and about what I'll be talking about today is, first we're going to talk about just a little bit about what is a cyber range. What exactly is it? How do we use it? What is it used for? Then I want to take a little bit look about who we are here at Cyber.org, and myself personally, and the little job that I do here. And then, to give a little viewpoint into what we are able to offer educators here in this space of cybersecurity and in the K-12 arena. And then we're going to actually go through a little small demonstration of just what type of a classroom resource the cyber range can be, and how we use the cyber range to try to teach young people about cybersecurity, and also not only to make them cyber literate, so that they themselves are protected and their information is protected online, but also to make them aware of cyber career opportunities. There are over 700,000 available cyber security jobs in this workforce depleted field. And so we're trying to bring that learning and that knowledge into the lives of young people, just as Delgado is doing with young adults in trying to introduce them to the field of cybersecurity and the career opportunities that it definitely presents. Throughout this presentation, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute your mic and to ask directly. If not, as you see on the screen here, my name is listed, but I also have two other colleagues. Joe McAdams is our director, is one of our curriculum directors, and he leads our cyber range initiative, along with Mr. John Bartles. He's another cyber curriculum development specialist here at cyber.org. And both John and Joe worked very close together in the creation and the actual putting together and building the cyber.org cyber range. And so if you have any real technical questions or things that I might not be able to answer, then I will definitely ask you to just forward those to me or at those email addresses that you see. And I assure you that we will definitely answer your question. So, what exactly is a cyber range? I've heard it referred to in a lot of different ways. I oftentimes refer to it like a sandbox environment. As a little kid, in the playground, you had a sandbox, and the sandbox was a box that was closed in, obviously, on all four sides, and within that box you had sand. And the idea was with the sandbox is that the sand stayed inside the sandbox, and you could go play in the sandbox, and you would kind of be separated from the outside world, you might say. So the range is like a sandboxed environment. It is online, but it is separated away from the rest of the online world, as you might say. So it's walled off, for lack of a better word. And why is that important? Well, it's important because in a cyber range, we're practicing cyber attacks, ransomware, malware, phishing attacks, those things that in today's day and age, those are catchwords for things that are dangerous to us, things that we need to avoid. And so in order for students to be able to experience those things, we wanted to be able to create this safe, walled off environment so that students could actually be online and to actually practice and execute cybersecurity attacks. Another way that you might look at a cyber range, another view you might think of is that think back to your high school chemistry lab. And if you think about your chemistry lab, there was a lot of dangerous things in there that outside of the chemistry lab could cause great harm. But while you're in that chemistry lab, you could then work with those chemicals and those materials and things in this safe environment to where you could experience chemistry with the idea of not being able to put yourself at harm or put others in harm's way as well. So the cyber range affords us that. It allows students to play the role of both the malicious user or the unexpected, unsuspecting victim. It allows you to create malware and things like ransomware and run certain cyber attacking tools and install them on a victim's machine. Our range involves two machines. It involves a Windows 7 machine that is normally the machine of the victim, and then it involves a Kali Linux machine, which is the machine of the attacker, of the malicious attacker. And so what this does is it allows for an opportunity for these things, these real world things, to be executed. And so that children and students are able to have real discussions and real dialogue, and they can really, really see firsthand what these things look like, so that in the event they do experience or come across them in the real world setting, then it's not something that's brand new or something that would catch them off guard. And so we're very, very proud of it. We launched the range in January. We had a huge ribbon cutting right here in Bossier City, Louisiana. The director of CISA, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, which is our funding agency, they were able to fund us for this range, and the state of Louisiana helped to put in additional funding. I'm getting a thing that says we cannot see my PowerPoint, so let me see if I can do something here. I do apologize. Okay, hold on. I think I've got it straight. I need to switch the screen I'm sharing. Now, if someone could tell me, are you seeing what I want you to see now?
Yes, we can see
Are
it.
we? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. Are you seeing the full screen now?
Yes.
Okay, I do apologize for the guests who are on and for the video, and I do apologize for that. But here we go. As I said, the cyber range, it's like that chemistry lab. It's like that online chemistry lab where we can go in and practice these cyber attacks that I've already spoken about. Who are we? Who is cyber.org? Well, we are the academic division, as Aaron said, of the Cyber Innovation Center. In Shreveport, Louisiana, and Bossier City, we are fortunate to be the location of one of the global strike command centers that's a part of our armed services. Barksdale Air Force Base in Bossier City, and Minot Air Force Base up in Minot, North Dakota, are the only two global strike command centers, and they are centers where we house fully operable and ready to roll nuclear weaponry. If you remember in 9/11, when the attacks happened in New York and on the World Trade Center, at the time, President Bush was actually flown to Bossier City, to Barksdale, because of its capabilities and the ability to protect the president. So with that level of importance, the Cyber Innovation Center is a civilian type operation that pairs with the federal government to try to solve problems that the federal government has. Obviously, cybersecurity rises to the level of national security because this is how we protect our national secrets. So in that light, the federal government not only feels that adults should be cyber literate and cyber aware, but that because of the growing needs in that field and the growing needs in the workforce, as I stated earlier, they felt that it would be very important to focus on the K-12 sector in an effort to begin to plant the cybersecurity seed in the minds of children at a much earlier age. So we here at cyber.org, we write cybersecurity curriculum, and we provide that curriculum to K-12 educators. We feel that K-12 educators are those force multipliers, and those are the people that are responsible and that will be responsible for ensuring our students are exposed to, made aware of, and trained in cybersecurity skills, maybe not to the level of actually going into the field for a career, but at the bare minimum, our desire is that every student is cyber literate and cyber aware. Me specifically, I, as Aaron said, put in 25 years in public education, serving many roles. And in my last assignment, I was working for our district's virtual school. This was prior to COVID. And we did a lot virtually. Kids learned online. And so when COVID hit and we had to go to Zoom classes and things like we're now on this presentation, that was a very easy lift for us at the Virtual Academy. And we actually led the efforts in helping our school district to become online ready for online learning. In that experience, I was able to earn a cybersecurity certificate through cyber.org. And one of the professors saw in me my desire to learn more about this particular industry, but also cyber.org had a HBCU initiative that they were leading, which was a partnership between Grambling State University, the first college in the state of Louisiana to offer a Bachelor's of Science in Cybersecurity, and a local school district in Caddo Parish schools in Shreveport. I was hired by cyber.org to help lead that initiative. Subsequently, that initiative that was funded, that pilot program that was funded by the NSA, subsequently, CISA came in and extended the funding, and we were able to expand that program to 10 additional HBCUs outside of the state of Louisiana. We call that program Project REACH. REACH is an acronym for Realizing Equitable Access to Cybersecurity in High School. And we're focusing on making and creating pipelines between K-12 and HBCUs who offer degrees in cybersecurity and computer science. And we're trying to focus and target those underserved and underrepresented populations in our efforts to do that. So what do? I said we offer cybersecurity curriculum. We actually have a full line of classes, kindergarten through the 12th grade. This particular activity, the cyber range and tool, is used in our more technical courses. Our signature course is called Cybersecurity. We have all of our courses are found on the Canvas LMS platform. And all of these resources are at no cost to teachers. So at the end of conclusion of this presentation, I'll be sharing with you a link where you can go on if you're a K-12 educator, and you can apply for access to our curriculum. Usually within 48 hours, you are able to obtain that. And then you'll have full access to our full library of courses. But as I said, today's presentation focuses on our cybersecurity course, which is our most technical course in our course library. The cybersecurity course, why is it important? If you think back, I talked about that workforce gap shortage. And we know that in cybersecurity, there are in many instances, employers are very concerned and focused on students obtaining certifications. I know that Delgado has an extensive program where they offer opportunities and classes for people to become certified in many of these desirable IT certifications that many companies wish for their employees to have. We are fortunate enough that our technical courses that we have written in our curriculum are aligned with the objectives of the CompTIA suite. We have courses at which students are prepared to sit for the Security Plus exam, the Networks Plus exam, the IT Fundamentals exam, as well as the A Plus exam. Cybersecurity, the course that we're talking about today, is aligned, as you see, with the Security Plus objectives. The exam won't be updated again until 2025, so students are being exposed to the latest objectives and standards for that certification. The range is important because, as you see highlighted on the screen, many employers, not only do they want that experience, that certification, but they want their potential employees to have experience. And so the range affords K-12 students the opportunity to gain that experience that so many of them desire to see in their employees. The certification is good for 3 years. As you see, the exam is somewhere in the neighborhood of $400, but many school districts have vouchers. They have career technology and ed funds that are made available to them. And then CompTIA themselves sometimes has programs where vouchers can be given for students to be able to sit for those exams. So, what does the range experience really involve? What does it allow students to do? Well, basically, in this sandbox environment, we're able to expose students to 3 types of labs. Just like I said, that chemistry lab example where we go into the lab and we have all these different things and we mix things together in different amounts and whatever, and we get certain reactions and certain outputs. We have labs. The labs are designed for students to perform them within the range, within this safe environment where they can execute attacks and things, as I've said earlier. But those labs fall basically into 3 big categories. The first big category is we have example labs. Example labs are like hands-on exercises. They allow students to practice their cybersecurity skills and their knowledge, like I said, in a controlled environment. Many times they are labs that include some type of software testing technique. And really it's where students are able to see these type of cyber activities in action. For example, I have there listed the fuzzing lab. Well, fuzzing is an action or a software technique where huge amounts of data or information are front-loaded unexpectedly onto a system or a program in order to identify weaknesses or vulnerabilities in that system. There's another type of example lab that we're going to go through today that I'm going to demonstrate for you today called a credential harvesting lab, where a person's credentials, their information, username and password are harvested or gathered unknowingly to the user or to the victim. So that's one particular type of lab, example labs. Another particular type of lab are called tool labs. A tool is a software program or an application that's used to simulate real world cyber attacks. We have things like tools like Wireshark that are used to monitor network trafficking. So a malicious user could run a tool like Wireshark and monitor all of a person's online activities. You have tools like Metasploit, where you're trying to do penetration testing to test the ability to penetrate a system. You have another tool that's a really cool tool that we use in some of our labs. It's called the John the Ripper. And the John the Ripper is a tool that's used with accessing and retrieving and gathering passwords. Oftentimes it's used in what we call a brute force attack. So we have those tool type labs that we are able to expose students to. And then finally, we have what really they all want to get into is we have those attack labs. And obviously those attack labs allow us or allow the user to perform and to practice offensive cybersecurity skills. They can actual practice ransomware and malware creations, like with a ransomware lab. They can actually execute a social engineering attack, like phishing, or like we'll also do today with this credential harvesting lab. And they can do things like penetration testing as well. Just gives them an opportunity to be that malicious actor and to just see what all is involved in creating and executing these cyber attacks online. All right, so those are our three main types of attacks. So I think the best thing to do now is to actually show you what the range kind of looks like. And so you see there, that is just a little screenshot of what the opening page of the range is. I've already loaded the range because I didn't want there to be some lag time. So you won't actually see this particular shot right here. But when you do log into the range, and I will give you the information about how you can gain access, this is really what the screen that you will see upon logging in. Now, in terms of getting access to the range, as I said, I don't know if Aaron can possibly put this in the chat, or I can, like I said, if you send me an email, you have an opportunity to make contact with me, and I can send you this information all together. But basically, you log in to our website. Those of you who may be familiar with our curriculum and may have access to it, if you remember when you signed up for the curriculum on Canvas, you did get a human verification. You got an email back from somebody sending you a link to get into the curriculum. It's the same way with our range. You'll apply for access to it, and then you'll receive some verification, usually within 48 hours of your credentials in order to log in. Just FYI, the range is defaulted to set up for a person to have 2 classrooms. Each of those classrooms can have a total of 40 students. So one teacher is defaulted to have range access for 80 students. That can be increased. All you have to do is to send us a request, and we'll be able to honor that. But again, I want to revisit the main topic, and the thing that most people like to hear is that everything that I'm talking about, the range, the curriculum, these resources are all at no cost to the K-12 teacher, no cost. Okay, all right. So we will move on to okay, all right. So we will move on to I'm trying to find my mouse here. Okay. Well, let us, you can sign up for the curriculum right here. I'll get to that slide in a minute, but I want to change my screens here. And I need to share a different screen. And no, that's not it. I'm sorry. I apologize. Here we go. And I have already, as I said, logged into the range. We are in the range now. What I'd like for you to kind of see or to bring your attention to as you look at the range is that the range actually is two machines. Here's an example of a teacher's class. The teacher's name, McAdams. The classroom, you have all the students along with their usernames. Passwords are automatically generated by the system. As a teacher, you're able to go in and change you cannot change the username, but you can change the password. And you can obviously change the nickname. When you create your class, you will have names here that we've created using Louisiana terms. Let me see if this will act right. I can't do it, but if I was to go to my class right here and I wanted to add a student, then where is it? If I wanted to go to my class and I wanted to add a student, then what it would do is it would bring up a name that would be like a Cajun name, and it would have a fleur-de-lis so that you knew that was a newly added student, and that that nickname is computer generated. But you as a teacher can go in and change that nickname, and like I said, you can change the password. But within our range environment, we have two machines. We have a Kali machine, as I said, which is our attacker. And then we have a Windows machine, which runs Windows 7, which is our victim. The reason why we use the Windows 7 machine is that it has been archived. It is no longer supported by Windows. They do not run patches to fix the vulnerabilities in it. And so Windows 7 is obviously old. I think now we're on Windows 11 or 12. So there have been a tremendous amount of updates since its inception, but we use Windows 7 because of the vulnerabilities that the system has and the ability to perform cyber attacks on that particular type of system. Again, remembering we're in a sandboxed environment, so we're not at you or your students are in no way able to harm your existing system at your schools or on your campuses. What we're going to do today is we're going to run through a credential harvesting lab. A credential harvesting lab falls into the category of an example type of lab where we are doing a hands-on exercise trying to demonstrate to students, what these attacks look like in real life. And so basically with a credential harvesting lab, if you think about credentials is your information. That information that's used to identify you. For most of us, the two biggest pieces or categories or types of credentials are our usernames and our passwords. We have accounts, we have email accounts, we have bank accounts, we have Amazon accounts, shopping, we have social media accounts, we have gaming accounts for those gamers out there. We have teacher accounts where we enter into our LMS systems or we get into our our district emails, our campus emails. We have accounts just all over the place. And with each and every one of those accounts, there's a strong likelihood that we have a username and a password attached to that account. And we know that some of our most valuable information, as I said, are health information, banking information, financial information, things of that nature are oftentimes held in accounts that have usernames and passwords. So in the credential harvesting lab, a malicious actor is attempting to collect those credentials from victims unknowingly. And really what they try to do is, in this particular lab, we're going to create a fake website, because we're all familiar with the internet. We all do things on the internet. We're going to create a fake website cloned from a real website. So at first look, it will appear to be real. And then upon entering that website, we want the victim to enter in their username and password, and then the malicious actor on the other side is going to be capturing that information, and the victim will never know. As I said earlier, the victim will be played by the Windows 7 machine, and the attacking will be done on the Kali Linux machine. And so if you're looking on your screen right now, you are looking at the Kali Linux machine. This is what we call the GUI, the graphic user interface. It's where all of the action occurs. When you go at home on your computer and you're able to look at your desktop like this is referred to as a GUI. Each one of these individual icons is referred to as a GUI because you click on it and it opens up something or performs some type of action. Okay. In the range, we have another way to input information, and that's called the CLI, the command line interface. And we access that by opening up a terminal in our range. So we open up a terminal by clicking on this black box here. Okay, and we're going to open up a terminal. And in this terminal, we're able to use commands that are called Linux commands, thus the name command line interface. We're actually at the command level of the machine. This is where kids use coding and things of that nature to get our machines to do all of the wonderful things that they do to make our lives easier. But in the sense of the range, we have now opened up a terminal, and we are now interacting in what we refer to as the command level interface right here. And so it is in here that we are going to set up our environment for the attack. We're going to find the IP addresses that we'll need in order to ping the information to the correct machine. We're then going to open up what we call the social engineering toolkit to create our cloned website that we're going to get our unsuspected victim to access, and we're going to launch the attack. So in order to do that, we type in a few commands. The first one is we have to set up our social engineering toolkit. And social engineering, I didn't go over that in great detail, but social engineering is where we get the victim to do something. We get them to click on a link. We get them to open up an email. All those things that involve the person. The computer can only do what the person tells it to do. So we have to devise methods and ways of getting the person to do that. And then with today's example, the way we're going to get somebody to do that is to present them with this website that appears to be normal and appears to be something that they are familiar with, but the whole time it's actually cloned and it's fake. So first thing we do is we open up our SE toolkit. We have a lot of verbiage here that is by the gentleman that created this. Basically, what it says is you agree that you're using this in a learning type setting, and you're not using any of the tools in this toolkit to actually carry out a real live malicious attack. So we just type yes, we type Y, and we go that, and now we're in the social engineering toolkit. And so if you remember what I said, and as the name implies, we're going to first do a social engineering attack. So we're going to choose the number 1. And then I also told you that we're going to be doing this attack by creating a website, a fake website attack. So we're going to choose number 2, which is our website vector attack vectors. And then we already said, what are we doing with that website? What's the purpose of that website? We are trying to harvest someone's credentials. So we're going to choose number 3. And I said earlier how we're going to do that. We're going to create what? A fake web page. So we're going to use a web template, number 1. And now for this step right here, we need to know, where do we want the information that we're obtaining? Where do we want that sent back to? Well, just like you have a physical address on your house, all of our computers have an address called the IP address. Well, in our range, the beautiful thing is that every time you fire up the range, the IP address changes because it's a fake environment. So for us, if we want to find out our IP address, we can go up here to machines, and we can click on machines, and we see that in our Kali machine, our IP address is this 10.15.22.248. So we write that down for our knowledge because we're going to need that. One thing that you'll learn when you do access our range is all of our IP addresses begin with 10.15 because October 15th was the day that we launched our range. So for this particular case, we see that our IP address is already set up for our machine where we're going to be receiving this information. So all we have to do at this point is to press enter. And upon doing that, we see then finally our last thing was that we said we were going to create a Google web page. And so we press 2, we hit enter, and now we see that the social engineering toolkit credential harvesting attack has been launched, and it is now running in port 80. And now all it is waiting for is for information to arise. So the attack has been set, and we're now waiting for the unsuspected victim to access our website and to enter in their information. So if we go now to our Windows machine and we open up the Windows machine, we're going to open up a Internet Explorer. Now we use Internet Explorer because it runs faster. You could use Google Chrome, but Internet Explorer runs faster. And in our address bar here, we're going to put in the IP address for the machine that's going to be collecting the information. Now, obviously, in a real life example, someone wouldn't type in an IP address. This is the point where it would probably be a phishing email where there'd be a link that somebody would click on and it would take them to this a site. But for the sake of the activity, we're just going to pretend that type of social engineering occurred. The person has clicked on the link and it has taken them to what appears to be a legitimate Google login page. Now, we know that if we will look closely, there are things that will let us know that this actually isn't a real Google login page. One thing is, obviously, we just said the address in our URL bar is not for Google. It's an actual IP address. So that should be, a huge red flag and let you know that you're in a wrong spot. But for the sake of the activity, we're playing an unsuspected victim. So the victim goes to this website. They go on and they enter their credentials. So we're going to use W. Henderson for my username, and my password I'm going to use 1234. And I hit sign in. And as many times it asks you, does he want you to remember the password? And I'll just click yes, and boom, I'm signed into Google. And so now I believe that I have signed in legitimately, that there are no issues, there are no problems. But if you look real close, the sign in button is still there at the top, which would be another flag that would probably let you know that something is not right, because you just entered your credentials to sign in and yet it hasn't actually signed you in. So what then actually has happened? So if we go back to our Kali machine, which, as we said, was running this credential harvesting attack, let's look and see if we got anything. And so I'll make this a little larger so that it may be easier for you to see, but maybe I can't do it. Let's see. No, it won't do it. I'll already increase it as large as I can. But if you see right here, possible username and passwords found. W. Henderson, and the password is 12345. So you see that my credentials were in fact harvested. And this is really how a malicious actor can execute a credential harvesting attack on an unsuspected victim. And so this is just one of the many labs and exercises that the range affords teachers to be able to expose their students to, so that they're able to get that real life experience and examples, and hopefully, like I said, maybe stimulate in them a desire to enter into that particular type of work. As we said, there's definitely a plethora of jobs, and so we want to give students the best opportunities and experiences to take advantage of that. As I said earlier, here's a link that I can share that allows you to sign up for our curriculum. I'll go back here right now and I'll show you another slide. Oh, I'm sorry. Stop sharing the screen. I want to change pages. Oh, here it is right here. If you sign up for our curriculum, it's absolutely free. It just asks you some basic demographic information. The main thing that we're looking for is a K-12 email. So we ask that you please do not sign up with any personal emails. Sign up with your district issued email. And as I said, usually within about 48 hours, you do receive access to that curriculum. When you do sign up for the curriculum, as I said, it's set up in an LMS system, Canvas. This is my Canvas page, and as you see, when you sign up, you will have access to all of the courses. Some of these that you're seeing now, I only have access to as an employer, but I believe teachers can see 14 published courses, so you're able to have access to our whole curriculum library, K through 12. And see, yeah. If you have any additional questions and you want to get in touch with me directly, here is my contact information. My email is pretty easy and our website's pretty easy. It's our name and it's my name, willie.henderson@cyber.org. Those of you who might have a camera, you can scan that QR code and it will take you to my email. And then finally, before we open the floor for questions, if there are any, it's about 2:53. We love feedback. And I hope that you have found today's presentation to be both enlightening and thought-provoking and informative. And so I would simply ask if you would, you can either go directly to this website at the link that I'm providing for you here, or you can scan the QR code, which takes you to a brief survey on SurveyMonkey. We use your feedback to help us do our jobs better and to help us deliver the best material, resources, support, and all for all of our teachers who use cyber.org in their everyday teachings of their students. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm to the end of the presentation. Well, I'll leave it up for a little bit longer for any of those who might be trying to scan that QR code for that survey. But if there are any questions or anybody has any comments or anything they'd like to say, now would definitely be the time.
They'll have an actual green tea, not the drink turkey.
Well, Willie, so thank you for that presentation. As you mentioned, you have your email address if anyone does have any questions moving forward, and as well, you can visit the website that Willie provided. So I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in today, and as I said, a special thank you to Willie for your presentation. So please visit our website and our Facebook and our Instagram page, Tech Made Easy, for more information for any upcoming Tech Talk Thursdays and other IT events. And I hope everyone enjoyed today's presentation and hope you have a great weekend moving forward. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Aaron.